Hello all, good morning. This is Dr. S. Subbalakshmi, an assistant professor in the Department of Mathematics, SNS College of Technology. This is a lecture video series on the course Statistics and we are on to the topic F-test now. So this video explains the properties and the significance of F-test. So under which we have major 2 points here under F-test to test whether if there is any significant difference between the two estimates. So we have to, when we are about to test the two given estimates or the attributes or the characters or the properties of the given thing, we are using F-test. So this is the first point. If there is any significant difference between the two estimates or not, this will be the first point. Second point. If the two samples have come from the same population or not. So the given two samples have been coming from the same population or not. So this sample same population is the keyword to identify that it has a F-test or not. So now moving on to the procedure for doing F-test. As we already knew, in testing of hypothesis, we already have 5 simple procedure steps, which are null hypothesis. Second step is alternative hypothesis. Third step is the test statistic. Fourth step is comparing and the level of significance or the degrees of freedom are to be noted. And the fifth step is to a conclusion. So this is what we do here also. But the only difference here is we does not have any alternative hypothesis. So moving on to the null hypothesis. What will be the null hypothesis for F-test? The null hypothesis for F-test is H0 colon sigma 1 squared is equal to sigma 2 squared. So wherein we are analyzing two samples, and for which we are analyzing the standard deviations, whether they have come from the same population or not. This is what we are going to test for. That will be coming under H0. That is our null hypothesis. There is no difference, which means the two attributes are coming from the same population. This is what our null hypothesis is. Moving on to the second step. I have already mentioned that alternative hypothesis, for alternative hypothesis, we does not frame for F-test. So, moving on to the next step, which is the test statistic. What is the test statistic? Test statistic is F is equal to S1 squared by S2 squared, or we can mention it as S2 squared by S1 squared. What are these S1s and S2s? S1s and S2s are standard deviations of the given sample. These S1s and S2s are the standard deviations of the given sample. As we already knew, the standard deviation formula is summation of x minus x bar the whole square divided by n1 minus 1. And for S2, we will have summation of y minus y bar the whole square divided by n2 minus 1. What is the summation of x minus x bar? X represents the first sample and y represents the second sample. What we have to do? We have to take the arithmetic mean first of all, which is mentioned as x bar and y bar. We have to take the mean for both of the given samples. After which we have to subtract each of the x values with the arithmetic mean. Each of the y values with the arithmetic mean y bar. And you have to square it and later you have to sum up it. So this is what we are going to do for S1 squared and S2 squared. What are these N1 and N2? What are these N1 and N2? What are these N1 and N2? N2 is nothing, N1 is nothing but the number of observations given in sample 1 and N2 is nothing but the number of observations given in sample 2. So, what we will do for F-test is, if S1 is greater than S2, we will have this formula. Or else, if S2 is greater than S1, we will have S2 on the numerator. This is what we do in the test statistic for F-test. Later on, moving on to the degrees of freedom. So, this is a much different case in testing of hypothesis, wherein the degrees of freedom will be 2, counted as 2, which means row 1 and row 2 will be calculated for both of the given samples, sample 1 and sample 2. So, for one sample, we will have row 1 and for 2 sample, we will have row 2. So, first sample, we have N1 as the number of observations and subtracting 1, we will have the degrees of freedom for the first sample. In a similar way, N2 is the sample number of observations in the second sample and row 2 will be called as the degrees of freedom for the second sample. This is how we calculate the degrees of freedom for the given samples in the F-test. Later on, how we will conclude the problem is, we will just conclude the problem with the help of the test statistic here. what will be the test statistic? F is equal to S1 squared by S2 squared, and if we will be calculating F calculated value with the help of the given observations, and later on with the table value we will be finding F tabulated. What is F tabulated? Will be from the table value. So according to the degrees of freedom given here it is mentioned to be row 1 comma row 2. So F table value is to be calculated for row 1 comma row 2. So this is to be calculated. After calculating this, we will have some value, and on comparing F calculated and F tabulated, we will be concluding that if the calculated value is greater than the tabulated value, we will reject the hypothesis, and if it is less than the tabulated value, we will accept the null hypothesis. So this is what we do in the F test as a procedure. So we will see a problem related to this procedure in the next video. Thank you.